Hello, we're live. Hello, welcome. Welcome. I think we are good to go. We're starting here. Welcome. We are live and starting this masterclass webinar, 5-part killer sales and marketing recipe that smart CEOs use to conquer their category and double their sales. I'm so excited. Hello and welcome. Welcome, beautiful people of the world. All right, we're just getting started here as people are getting in this room. Let's just see if this is working right. If you could hear me and see me, just type in the comments here. I got you. If you can hear and see me, if you can hear the screen. Do you got me? Are you here? Welcome. All right, so we are live. 5-part killer sales and marketing recipe that smart CEOs use. And we're going to get started. There's so much we're going to cover in this next hour. I'm really excited. And I also promise you that this is going to be the best masterclass you have been in, at least in 2022. Ron was here last weekend. He loved it. He got so much actionable stuff. So I packed this with actionable stuff that you could use, news that you could use, as well as a secret weapon that you're probably not going to see anywhere else. So I'm really glad that you're here. If you're here, just type in the comments, I am here and psyched. Let's just see if you're here. Ron was here last weekend. Okay, just want to cut down on that feedback. Let's get started. All right, so if you're here, type in the comments, what business are you in? Type in the comments here below, what business are you in? And let's get started. And also, where are you coming in from? Hey, Ryan, what's going on? Type in the comments here, what business are you in? We're getting started. 5-part killer sales and marketing recipe that smart CEOs use to conquer their category. What business are you in and where are you coming in from? So this is a funny meme. This is why I'm in the business I'm in, because so much of solution marketing is in your face, promotional, pushy, telling me what I should think and believe. And it doesn't work anymore. And I'm really excited to share with you what does work, what the right recipe is. So thanks for being here. And it's because this poll, a good product, does a good product sell itself? Let me know in the comments. Hello, Paige. Hello, Brian. Welcome. Does a good product sell itself? My experience, the best product doesn't win in the end. It's the best story, the most clear story that wins. And so it's not how great how much money you spend on marketing. Sadly, I say sadly for a lot of companies that spend more money on marketing than I can imagine. We're going to get started in a minute, but as people are coming in, hello, Nader, welcome. Type in the comments here, who is your ideal customer? And you should know this because these are the people who are essentially paying your mortgage or your rent. These are the people who you're serving. You should know who they are. If you put them in a virtual room, describe what you see. What's their titles? What kind of businesses are they in? Type in the comments, who is your ideal customer? We're going to get into the 5-part recipe in a minute. Hello, Debbie. Welcome. Who is this for? This recipe, this webinar, this masterclass is for CXOs, CEOs of $5 to $10 million innovative companies, hands-on investors. When I say innovative companies that are selling a breakthrough, innovation, revolutionary thing, service or product. So if that is not you, then feel free to bow out and leave this masterclass now. But if it is you, you're going to learn the right recipe, the recipe that other CEOs are using. I'm going to share specific examples on how they attract our ideal customers and grow their revenue. Welcome, Ed. Hello. All right, CEOs who want to align their team internally and dominate their category. So if this is you, you're in the right place. If it's not you, don't waste your time. So here's my promise to you if you're here, that in the next 45 minutes, okay, we're going to do a lot of things. We're going to talk about how to simplify your sales message, even if what your solution is, what makes it special and unique is sophisticated and complicated. We're going to talk about how to deliver an unforgettable sales presentation and connect with your customers without spending a ton of hours on slides or leave behind slides that no one reads. How to stand out in a noisy market, even if your customers don't even know that they need your solution in the first place. Because clearly, if it's an innovation, they don't even know that it exists, or many of them don't. How do you get your prospects to own your proposal, own the thing that you're selling them? Imagine that. How is that even possible? But that's my promise to you, how you can do that without having to hire a full-time chief marketing officer, chief sales officer, or CRO, if you don't already have one of those folks, and how to attract ideal customers without wasting a ton of money on marketing. The more I see so much money wasted on marketing, and I'm sure you do as well. That's my promise to you. And if you're in, type in the comments, I'm in. But before we go into the recipe, does this sound like you? That you've read some of these awesome marketing books. This is Marketing, Seth Godin. Building a Story Brand, Donald Miller. Gap Selling, fantastic sales book. Influence by Robert Cialdini. These are some amazing books that have messages and have to-dos in them. But have you really struggled to implement some of these ideas that actually take shape on your homepage, in your sales deck, in your marketing? So if that's you, you're in the right place for this masterclass. Are you working and spending money with a graphics gal, a website guy, a social gal, PPC person? You've got a lot of spend on marketing, but what you seem to be lacking is a single compelling story as to why your solution, why now, and why they should change. So if that's you, you're in the right place. Do you feel, honestly embarrassed when you're showing your sales deck that it's more like a math textbook than actually a presentation? Are you sending your sales presentation sometimes to people that you don't present it to, and here's the link, take a look, or just send me the presentation? In fact, when some people say send the presentation to me, I pretty much know that's a polite way of saying no thanks, but hearing nothing back. If this is you, you're in the right place. Are you secretly saying to yourself, if they only knew what the power of our innovation is, if they only knew, if they only saw it, with their own eyes, then it would be a no-brainer. But they don't know. They don't really see it. Are you looking at your competition? Maybe they're not even selling apples to apples what you're selling. Hello, Artie. Hello, Santosh. Hello, Debbie. Holly, welcome. Type in the comments as you're coming in here where you're coming in from. We're just still getting started, and who's your ideal customer. So you're looking out at your competitors, and they're like this old guy, and I'm an old guy too, out in the front. And why are they winning? Their product doesn't nearly have the capabilities that yours has, or your solution. You're in the right place if you are to get this recipe. Is your messaging that you're using on your homepage, in your sales decks, in your emails, is it sophisticated, smart sounding like this? Software platform drives transparent, data-driven decisions to optimize the utilization. Did I lose you yet? Now listen, we can laugh at this website. We can laugh at it, but we're laughing at it because it's true. We know that in our own marketing, there is BS. There's bullshit in our own marketing, and everyone knows it. But we're just copying and pasting language that sounds like clever, but is not clear. We don't know what this company offers, creating innovative workflow technologies that drive high reliability. Like, what are you selling? Hello, doesn't work. So if that's you, if there's some element to your own story that isn't really clear, you're in the right place. Is your sales process, you're selling something that's innovative? Is your solution sophisticated? Is every deal complex because it involves several people? Every customer is unique. Every value prop is customized. Every deployment needs some configuration. If that's you, you're certainly in the right place, because you're probably thinking, how could our sales message be simple in this? Because how could it possibly be? Everyone's in a different place. You're in the right place because we're going to get to this recipe. All right. By the way, if you're here, type in the comments so I know who is your ideal customer. We can interact. Do you get from people, gosh, I like what you're saying, but we didn't really get that at all from your website? That means your messaging is not communicating. Are you hiring salespeople who are like, some are saying we're the best and some are saying we're the cheapest? They're all over the map and not saying that single compelling story. do you see your pipeline getting bigger and bigger, but your closed deals plateauing? You're in the right place. So I've got good news for you. The good news is that those are symptoms of a problem that's I would say, much more real than that and easier to solve. Once you get that nailed, things are going to happen. So the real problem is you haven't been using the right recipe. It is about recipe, and it is a bit of a play on the pitch kitchen idea, getting together and cooking up the right recipe. But you're not using the right recipe if you're experiencing those problems. But once you get this recipe right, you're going to have complete confidence in every dollar you're spending on marketing. You're going to double the close rate while speeding up qualifications in your pipeline. Your leadership team, your sales team, everyone will be in lockstep, going in the right direction. Your Zoom meetings, presentations will be totally unforgettable. I mean, never forget. And you're going to retap like the joy of why you're doing this innovation thing and selling this thing in the first place to serve the market you are. So we're going to get into the 5-part recipe. If you're here, just type in the comments where you're coming in from. It would be great to see. All right. And who am I? So a little bit about me. So I, for many years, sold enterprise software and services in the many millions, and to companies like Apple and Texas Instruments. And I was actually using sales decks that were given to me or thrown over the fence by marketing, and they had no way to help me and my team actually have the right conversations. There were slides with logos and slides with when we were founded and slides with credibility stuff that nobody cared about. And so I decided to create sales decks based on the 12 conversations that I realized needed to happen in order to win multi-million-dollar deals. And those were winning. So I started a side hustle building presentations that use these 12 conversations, and the side hustle started earning a lot more. So started Pitch Kitchen. And I also, after with my team and I started doing thousands of sales presentations, we realized that there is a pattern of what conversations work, what conversations don't work in the sales process. And that expanded to those conversations that need to happen on the marketing side, on the home pages, and developed into a marketing framework. We've also trained salespeople so that they are not selling or pushing or promoting, but they are actually selling to the change. We're going to be talking about that today. So if you're here, welcome. I'm just introducing myself a little bit. Hello, Ryan, Brian, Paige, Nader, Davey, Santush, Artie, and Holly. So I'm just introducing myself. We are in a post-COVID world, and I took this picture in New York City 2 years ago, I think to the date, and it was a really scary time. And I think COVID really gave me and my business and my life a reset. It was actually at this time my marriage fell apart. Wife left me. COVID happened, and I just stopped and really took a fresh look. And it was through this time, just through there's my daughter and my son, also struggling with the new reality. But it was also time for me to double down on the business. And since then, after losing a lot, I recreated who I am in my life. I got remarried, and good news as well. I got a baby boy, Henry, who was just born in August, and there this little charming little guy is. And how lucky am I to reboot like this after COVID? And I'm sharing a little bit about my personal life because I believe that the sales in the new age that we're in requires people to be real with each other. If you believe that, then type the comments and give me a hell yes if you believe that. All right, so special offer to all the folks here that are in this webinar. So please stay to the end. All right. So let's get on to the 5-part killer sales and marketing recipe that smart CEOs use to conquer their category and double their sales. So excited to share this with you. Step number 1, lead a rebellion, lead a revolution, write a manifesto. So step number 1, the recipe, it's got to be lead a rebellion. So are you selling an innovation? Just type in the comments. Give me a 1 if you are leading a rebellion. All right. If you're leading a rebellion, type in 1 in the comments. If you're selling an innovation, I mean. And so if you're selling an innovation, whose opinion is that? Is that your opinion? And if you're thinking you're selling innovation, while your mom and dad and children probably agree with you, can you actually say that to people, and will they believe you? So the point is, if you have a website and you talk about your innovation, like, oh, it's next generation, I believe that it is. So according to who is saying this? Introducing Digits Reports, get yours now, reports from the future, available now. Like, who knows? Like, why should I believe that this is like an innovation? So the point is here that if your first thing you need to do is lead a rebellion, not talk about your innovation, because people believe in the things that they themselves decide, not the things that you tell them. People just won't. So what are you rebelling against? Think about it. If you're bringing an innovation to the market, it's probably to help your customers do things better, faster, cheaper. So you're probably rebelling against the old way of doing things. So what change does your innovation require? That, my friends, is your actual competitor. Because if your product or thing was a no-brainer, you wouldn't have to sell it. People would just buy it on your website, no questions asked. But the fact is, your biggest competitor is the change that your innovation requires in order for them to be successful using it. So who is your real competitor? That's change. So if you're going to rebel, you need to rebel against the thing that's holding your people back. So what is your contrarian ideology? If you know what that is, type in the comments below. Love to hear what that is. What is your contrarian ideology? Simon Sinek says, in order to stand out, we have to know what we stand for. So what do you stand for? Udi, being polarizing is great for business. So what is your polaristic, contrarian view on the world, on how the world gets stuff done that your innovation is supposed to help them with? Let's hear it, people. That's what you need to be doing. And let's look at some very successful social movements that have been part of business and politics. And Just Do It, Nike, calling their people to the change of being athletic. Trust your source, Wall Street Journal. Where news and propaganda, what are you going to trust to make business decisions? Fantastic. Donald Trump, whether you love or hate the guy, became president by telling the story of making America great again. Personally, not a fan, but I'm a big fan of good marketing, and that is one. Find Your Beach. What's that from? Corona tells a story of what you need to, encouraging people to do what their brand helps them get to. Partner with Patience, Medicine X. Start with Why, Simon Sinek. Own Your Tomorrow, Charles Schwab. Be Definitive Software. Patience Before Paper, ReadyWorks. So these are companies and brands that have realized that the essential story has to be about rebelling against the status quo. If you're with me and this makes sense, type in the comment, makes sense. And if you know what your three-word hashtag is, type it in the comments so we can see. All right. What is your battle cry? So I'm a big Arnold fan, by the way, but what is your battle cry? What is your call to people in 3 or 4 words? Type it in the comments. That is essentially calling, this rebellion we're talking about is calling your people to a better place, a world where they can do things better, do things faster, achieve more profits, faster turnaround, less hassle. What is the world that you're trying to take your people to? This has to be articulated, and it can be coming all down from that 3 or 4 word rebellion. Want to promote here, wonderful book by Dr. Michelle Mazur called The 3-Word Rebellion. Fantastic. Be Definitive. So you can see an example from a company, Be Definitive, and that is their call to their people. Their people are large organizations that struggle making a decision, that they get stuck in decision loops or marginalized employees because it's the loudest voice in the room that makes decisions. So it helps organizations make better decisions and be definitive. It's a fantastic example. So if you believe you're selling an innovation, but you're not leading a rebellion against change, you're just a follower in a slideshow, sadly. So real quick, Patricia from BST Perform, they had this new product, new board, and massive goals, could not differentiate their solution from the market, failing to book new conversations. Their message wasn't sticking, missing sales targets, frustrated with performance. This is the after piece, actually speaking to the promised land, which is for their customers to demonstrate cost-effective delivery. And look at that call to action. It's not just learn more or see more or watch a demo. It's see value-based performance. It's very specific. We're going to talk more about that. But afterwards, she was able to demonstrate cost-effective delivery. That's their tagline, if you will, their 3 or 4 word rebellion. Revolution, confident about the story and marketing, winning bigger deals. I'm going to show an example of this later. And this is an example, actually. She sent me this email where after she had posted this message of this rebellion, she got immediately a booked call with a CEO of an ABA organization, a massive deal that is turning this out to be, among others. So words really matter. Messaging really, really, really matters. And the key part of your recipe here is to lead a rebellion. A rebellion is part of your story. If that makes sense, type in the comments, makes sense to me. Type in makes sense. So we could go on with number 2. All right. Okay. So number 2, start with the problem. This is the second recipe here. So what is your homepage in love with? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? So what is your homepage really in love with? Let's get real with each other. Let's get real. What is it in love with? All right, so let's do some marketing myth busting right now. Nuclear bombs going off. And so please don't be offended. But number 1, nobody cares about your why. I'm sorry, reality check. About why you're doing what you're doing, when your company was founded. Really, nobody cares about your grandfather starting the business, as Donald Miller says. I would say, I'd go more than that. I would say nobody cares about you, your company, your product. Harsh is not a knock. It is harsh. What do your customers really care about? Let's just call it out. Type in the comments, what does your customer really, really care about? Let's hear it. They care about their problems. They care about their goals. So myth number 2, promoting your solution doesn't result in selling this. We know this. You could scream out in the mountaintops and spend $1 million on marketing, and that may, if you're lucky, result in some sales. But promoting it really doesn't result in selling it. Number 3, demoing your solution doesn't convince anyone. A lot of people say, if they just see our software, just demo the software, they'll buy it. If you build it, they will come, kind of thing. But you look at Gartner's results, and look at Gong.io's labs. They show that I think less than 20% of demos, people that show up to demos, actually buy the product, even though the product is brilliant, whatever. Because it's not enough to convince anyone of anything, just demoing the product. Number 4, big myth bust here. Your customers don't buy to obtain their goals. That's a huge one. A lot of people are like, what are you talking about? People buy because they want to do things faster and do things cheaper and higher quality. But you think about it, there's goals all over the place. Everyone wants to do things faster and cheaper at a higher quality. But every day, people don't change. People don't stop what they're doing or do things a different way. They stop what they're doing and do things a different way and buy a product when the current way that they're doing things is no longer tenable. They cannot tolerate it anymore, which has to do with the problem. And that's why the second part of this recipe is to start with the problem on your website, in your messaging. Number 5, don't ever ask a customer what their problem is. And a lot of salespeople make this mistake in their messaging because they ask their customers what their problems are. But the fact is, if you've built an innovation, you're selling an innovation, you should know what your customers' problems are even better than they know what their problems are. They're probably buying your innovation, if they buy it, because you've shown them about a problem that they had that they didn't even know that they had, perhaps. So if you can describe their problem better than they can describe it themselves, they will automatically believe that you have the best solution for them. This is such a huge concept because a lot of salespeople get this wrong. And I like to take in the recipes here a sales approach to marketing instead of just market, promote, which we know does not work. So you want to be talking about their problem to the point where you get that's right. that's right. You get us. You understand my world. Damn, I didn't even know that was happening. But now that you say it, I realize that you really get it. That's right. That's what we're dealing with. So this is something that Chris Voss wrote this great book called Never Split the Difference, calls tactical empathy. And this is an internal conversation that your customers need to get in the second part of the recipe that you are using. Here's an example of a before. This is solution first, starting with the solution. Nobody uses this. Nobody buys this. Nobody cares. Real quick, you'll hear from Jordan later in this talk. Prospects were confused. They just didn't buy. There was no cohesive story tying features together. Revenue is critical, super frustrated. This is like the ugliest sales presentation. No offense, Jordan, but I think he'll admit this. Yeah, just like, what is this? Gobbledygook. The platform, like, what is this? The after really speaks to not just what the platform is. This is a nice looking sales presentation because it's a choose your own adventure kind of conversation, asking people what outcome would make the biggest difference for your organization. What outcome? And you get into a conversation, a collaboration about these things. It's not just a pitchware of features and functions. I don't know, there's so many, show up and throw up kinds of presentations. Anyway, you can tell these type of presentation will work better. The messaging is better because it speaks to the problem that doctors and nurses are using papers, checklists in hospitals instead of spending time with patients. And that's, by the way, a product that this company sells. So the idea is that ReadyWorks, like you're selling an innovation, a product that is helping people overcome an insurmountable thing if they didn't have your solution. So if this makes sense about starting with the problem as the second part of the 5-part recipe, give me a makes sense in the comments. Does this make sense to you? Let's see. Makes sense. Okay. All right. So number 3, use the secret weapon. This is the magic piece here, and I'm glad you're here in the webinar to get this. Use the secret weapon. I'm going to be sharing this with you, the fruit of all of our labor, the playbook that you need to use. And this is something that we call the magnetic messaging framework. And it's magnetic because instead of just a one-way promotional message, it's a message that is attractive. It actually, like two magnets attracting. And so why is this the thing that you need, the secret weapon? It's because this method, the solution-oriented approach to marketing, talking about features, comparing features with the competitors, and talking about your solution is like putting a tuba in people's faces, and they may eventually buy, but most likely they'll just be tuned off because people are getting hit with thousands of messages each day. And if it's not something that's attracting them to the change that they already want, it is just not going to work. All right. So the magnetic messaging framework really speaks to the underlying things that are ruminations that your customers have in their head, which is why change, why now, and why should they change with you? It is about change. So the magnetic messaging framework really has to have 3 parts. The first part is, give us that hashtag that speaks to the revolution that you are calling people to do. Give us this 2-page, a 2-page story framework that really lays out what their problems are, what their goals are, how is the world changing for them that's causing undue or stress for them to keep going the way that they're going, making it actually untenable. What is the thing that you're selling to them called? How does it work? And what is the plan for them to actually use it to be successful? And what are the stakes if they don't actually take this change and do this with you? What's going to happen to them? That's 2-page story framework, and it's similar to the brand script that Donald Miller from Story Brand works, if you're familiar with that. That's an essential piece of the puzzle. Game over narrative. So the game over narrative is in the first part, and that is the idea that the world has changed and the old tools and the old way of solving the problem no longer works. In fact, you are selling an innovation that nobody else is selling because you are conferring advantage to the companies that already realize that the name of the game has changed. So the story strategy in the first part is the first part of the magnetic messaging framework, and that has to inform every bit of copy and content that you're writing, that your copywriters are using. This is the framework for your copywriters and for your marketers that is essentially calling your customer to the change that they already want. So you're not selling the change, you are calling them to change. All right. The second part of the magnetic messaging is a homepage for your business. And I say homepage, not website, because nobody is visiting your website. They're visiting your homepage. Okay, they're visiting your website, but they're getting there from the homepage. But 99% of the people go to your website, bounce from the homepage if it's not right for them. And the 1% that are there either take action or they don't. So you need a homepage that is a home run for your customer, that is really a how-to guide to get to their outcomes and avoid their problems, with all 10 elements of a highly converting website. And we're going to go through that in this masterclass today. That's the second part. The third part is a choose your own adventure discovery guide. It's not just slides that Gong.io says you shouldn't use in a discovery call. You should use slides in a discovery call if those slides allow you to collaborate. Visuals that tell a story of and just help you ask the right questions inside that process to set up the demo or to set up the next stage of the sales process for success. So you want to do that. Those are the three parts of the magnetic messaging framework. And we're going to unpack, like, what does that look like? And it's this first part, your story isn't marketing, just magnetic messaging. The idea is your story is really the thing that's going to drive the product you build, the people you recruit, the company you create. It's going to essentially motivate your salespeople to be the helpers and to be the guides, the trusted advisors. And it's going to motivate your customers. So it really is a secret weapon in your marketing. So let's break it down. What does solution marketing look like the old way, your presentation? Your old way was this 20-plus slide deck with page numbers and white backgrounds built for a world that doesn't exist, where people print. People don't print sales presentations anymore, where one slide had 8 bullets. And just like if we're in a room here, quick show of hands, who has slides like that? I'm sure a lot of people here would raise their hands. The new way, this magnetic messaging framework, is a choose your own adventure. You do not know where this is going to go. It's going to be conversational. But the slides that you have provide a guided discovery experience so that you, and as a salesperson and you as your customer, arrive at a place that you did not even know you were going to get to. And it's a collaboration guide where each slide would be a bullet point. All right. That is what the new way looks like. You want to be designing conversations, not slides. So this is an example, by the way, of a great slide where the fundamental piece is a question that begs the salesperson to stop and say, well, how do you really know how you're measuring satisfaction, or what the outcomes are with cost of retention, or how do you really know what the satisfaction looks like? So you're setting up a conversation about the solution by having a discussion and getting insights from your customer about what they don't know and what they need to know, what they want to know. This is so powerful. So this is one of 12 essential conversations. Just wanted to show this to you here. Turning your presentation into a collaboration. This is an example of a conversation number 3, which is the goals conversation. And as you can see, it is a conversational piece. All right, so let's just move right along. This is an example of a slide where, yes, it's a conversation about the plan of how we are going to help you get to the place that you want to go with our product. But it's also an opportunity to ask, how does this work for you? What's standing in the way of you taking these steps? Who else needs to be involved? So it really helps salespeople have those conversations. So by the way, on the screen here, these are the 12 essential conversations that every change requires. And I say change because it's not about selling, it's about helping customers change. And it's pretty much in 3 parts. These are all the conversations you'll ever want to have. And this is born out of literally doing thousands, designing and writing thousands of sales presentations. This is the formula for that. The old way of solution marketing, your company here is you're the hero of the story. You're coming in there with your fancy pants solution and the Superman thing on your chest. You are the hero of the story. But the magnetic messaging framework aligns your salespeople and your message as the helper of the hero instead. This is a fundamental shift to marketing for many companies. The old way of marketing is using expensive agencies that use jargon, buzzwords, and personas, telling a story about how great your solution is. But the new way is the hero journey is your customer. They're the hero, not you. And you're using visuals and verbs that emotionally connect with the outcomes that they are seeking. Telling a story about how great that they can be. If this is making sense, type in the comments here, making sense or makes sense. It's really hard for me to see comments for some reason, and I don't know why, but I'm going to move forward. This is what Andy Raskin points out, this game over narrative, which I really like. And this is something that we use in the magnetic messaging framework. The idea that you're not just saying on the left here that you're better than everybody else because you offer more features and functions. You're saying that you're the only solution. You're basically saying that if you as a customer believe that the only way to win is to do it this way, because the stakes have changed and the game has changed, the world has changed, then we're going to help you win that game because the other guys are only helping you play a different game because that's changed. This is a more sophisticated and very compelling approach to selling. A lot of companies use this. You can see an example of this. The new way is smart forms, where nurses and doctors can get the information and keep track of the machines on their phones. And behavior science tech, the old way is stop delivering at any cost, which is essentially what their customers are doing. The new way is to help them start cost-effective delivery, and that's the solution confers advantage to those companies. All right, so the old way for solution marketing is your homepage is a pretty and expensive brochure about how great we are, about us. But the new way, using the magnetic messaging framework, is a functional plan. I like to call it a home run for your customers that helps them understand what they have to do in order for them to be successful. And what's the stakes at play if they do not do anything. What's more important for your homepage than actually getting customers? Look at that, 76%. And this is a poll I had put up on LinkedIn. What is the biggest threat to sales? Looks like distraction, and that's why this stuff is so important. And I like to look at a web page. We'll look at several right now in this masterclass. Every word on your homepage is written in a voice, but whose voice is it? Is it websites copy, emails are copy? There's all this copy, but what is your copy actually saying? The copy in the old way of solution marketing is saying we're the best. If you're going to boil it down, that's essentially what I'm getting from this website is we're the best. But the new way of magnetic messaging is saying we make you better. And that firmly positions you as the guide of the story, not the hero. But if you look at these websites that, by the way, these are companies that got at least $10 to $20 million of investment, and the copy and the message, the strategic messaging they're using is terrible. Download 28 million PDFs for free. Okay, that's great. Invisible multi-factor authentication. Okay, get a demo, whatever. Goodbye property management. I like this actually. Goodbye property management. Hello, renter management software. Very good. It's like saying what the new world is and how we're helping you. Very, very good. Boating experiences worldwide. This is kind of like the Uber for boating. You can basically rent people's boats. Very good, except I don't think it puts it in the audience's active context. Like, what is it about? Where's me in this? Where's I? Okay. A modern streaming data platform for all developers. So says who? Says you? Okay, next. I don't believe you. Do purposeful work. Hyper automate the rest. Purposeful work. What? I don't understand what this is. But when I dug into this, actually before this, I screenshotted, they're actually selling an innovation. It's actually like robots that help do micro tasks in an office setting. But it doesn't communicate at all. So a lot is on the line here. This is actually a website I love. I like this. Move the earth, transform any excavator into a trenching robot with an easy to install aftermarket upgrade. So it says, first of all, the 3 words, move the earth. That's what they want to do. Their customers want to move earth, dig up holes and build stuff. And it also has the transformation story of the before and the after right there above there. So it's very, very good. So here in summary, the 10 elements of the most highly converting home pages. Number 1 is, what do they want? Their aspirations, so that you get a, that's right, you get me, that's what I want. Their affliction, what is their problem, that you get it, you get what their current scenario is and what's at stake for them if they do nothing. What is your credibility? What is your solution? How does it work? What are the stakes if they don't do anything? Which, by the way, that is your biggest competitor in this year, 2022. Your social proof, like why should I believe you? And what is my plan as a potential customer to get to success by using your solution? How do I use it? And if I'm not ready to buy now or could book a demo with you, I do want to download something and read something or socialize it with my CEO. I'll give you my email in exchange for something. But if I am willing to meet with you, what do you want me to do? What's the call to action? And I think in many cases, we see now that the contact form has gone away in exchange for actually booking meetings right then and there with a form or questionnaire that is very interactive. So speaking about call to actions, the old way in solution marketing is to learn more, get started, very passive, unclear. Everyone's using them, but they don't work. To the new way using magnetic messaging is asking to people to click on the thing that they want. People want, in this case, a paper impact assessment or a decision audit, or to get expert recommendations. That's what people want. And that's what you need to have your CTAs are. So just to recap, to make sure this makes sense, the magnetic messaging platform you need to have has 3 parts. It really has this story framework, including your hashtag, including your game over narrative. It needs to have a homepage that's a home run for your customer with those 10 highly converting elements, and a choose your own adventure type of discussion guide that facilitates collaboration, not just a pitch. So if that makes sense, type in makes sense, because I've got really bad news for you right now. If you're still here, the bad news is this. Bad news is some of you here, even on this call, are not going to make it. I don't mean physically. You're going to be fine. You're not going to die. But businesses die all the time. And I think Gartner has a point. 72% of SaaS companies fail by year 3. And there's a lot of startups, a lot of millions of dollars thrown into companies that they're failing. And they're failing not because their product isn't innovative or brilliant or great. They're failing because they don't have the right recipe. So Jeff Aronson, a president of EquipX, so the before scenario, he was really struggling because the market was confused about what they're actually offering, what their innovation was, pipeline thin, losing deals to no decision. This is actually an example of their website before. The call to action was download overview, really not working. But afterwards, they actually saw a 3x in revenue and 6x in pipeline in 4 months from changing this and really dialing in their magnetic messaging.
Sorry, could you say that again?
The partners can sell easily. Their partners, Siemens. So this is an example of their website today, and it really speaks to that the problem right off the bat and the transformation. Turn your underutilized equipment into an optimized health system. So it's that transformation story that speaks to the change that their customers already want. So here's an example of a great innovation, an AI product that actually, well, when you look at this, you have no idea what they do. It's like brains and computer chips and like, ew, like what are they selling? You have no idea, but afterward, they actually use this magnetic messaging platform, magnetic messaging framework. Their homepage looks like this, and it really spoke to the hero of the story, which are doctors, and getting them the superpowers they need so that they can diagnose and treat patients better by using artificial intelligence in virtual patient encounters. Like, how cool is that? Very clear. Turn virtual patient checkups into deeply insightful interactions. So you clearly get that showing pictures like this, a brain and chips, promoting like, oh, this is smart technology. This is how great, but nobody understands that. Like, people aren't buying that. The people are buying not your product, not your company, not your thing, but they are buying the outcomes or the results of your product. And it seems that so many marketers don't understand that. Actually, it's pretty easy to do good marketing these days, because so much marketing is. All right, all right. So, sell the change is recipe number 4. But before we go on, type in the comments, does that make sense? Makes sense, makes sense. Does that make sense? All right. Number 4, sell the change. So you're really not selling your product or your solution. Let's get into, what are you really selling? And this is a key part of your recipe. How do you get your customer to own your own proposal? And you get them to own your proposal by involving yourself as a salesperson, and even in the marketing messages you're using, as the guide of them getting to the next level. You're the guide. And so actually, I just thought of this before this webinar. Lose deals, all the difference between losing deals and closing deals. So check that out. Losing deals and closing deals. The only difference is collaboration. I thought that was cute, by the way, how to put that here. But it's true. It's this collaboration, because what you're really selling is, you're selling a situation where your customers are in their current state. They're dealing the best they can with the things that they have. And by the way, they have invested a lot of time and energy deciding on the process, the people, and the technology to manage their current world, right? But you understand, because you know so much about that type of customer, that they want to be in a future place. And you can talk to them and listen to them about where they would like to go. Now, what you're essentially selling is, you're selling the ability for them to get from their current state to their future state. So essentially, you're selling change, you're selling a movement. And in order to sell a movement, you need to position yourself not as the solution, but as the guide, in helping them get to their future state, which is to be better, but it's more importantly to stop the thing from happening, which is really killing them. So if you could remember just this one thing, that your solution is a means to an end, it's a dot along their journey. In fact, when I hear so many marketers talk about the customer journey, their customer journey, blah, 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 horseshit, the customer journey in their minds ends with the product sale. And it so doesn't. The customer journey ends when their customers are successful with the outcomes they get by way of the product. And so many marketers get that wrong. I don't know why. Maybe because they're stuck in the old way. All right, so if that makes sense, that you need to sell the change in part of your recipe, sell the change that it requires, type in the comments, makes sense. All right, all right. So last part of the recipe is invest in expert help. Invest in expert help. That is the thing you need to do. So these are CEOs that have invested in expert help, by the way, and this is why they do it. And by the way, on LinkedIn, you can actually get a star rating for work that you do, which I'm privileged and honored to get for Pitch Kitchen. But the reason why you need to get expert help is because when you're inside the solution and inside the innovation and cooking up a better way to do it, you're kind of like in the sauce. And it's hard to see, or inside the recipe or the medicine, whatever metaphor you want to use. And it's hard to see what really should be on the outside so that customers understand it. It's so easy to get trapped in the technology and the capabilities. But it's hard to see what all that means, what the technology enables, what the outcomes are of those capabilities. It's so easy to forget that actually is the most important thing. So having an outsider engage you and your team in the story development process is the process of aligning your team and getting everyone on board and getting everyone that you trust and rely on to bring your product forward to be a part of the narrative. And that's an essential piece. And that's what hiring an expert outsider can do. But I like to say, do not hire marketers, because traditional marketers do not do this. They are essentially putting lipstick on, or fireworks on, your solution. I think that you need to hire sales enablers. And I think sales enablement and sales enablers are the new marketing. That's what the new marketing looks like. So this is the 5-part recipe here. You got to lead a rebellion if you want to win. Very clear on what that story is. You have to start with the problem in your messaging on your website. Discuss the problem with your customers in your sales presentations. Use the secret weapon, which is the magnetic messaging framework. You need to sell the change. Don't sell your solution. Sell the change that is required in order to get to the outcomes, and invest in expert help. That is what is needed. So this was my promise to you to do this, and it was how to simplify your sales message, how to facilitate unforgettable sales conversations and presentations, how to stand out in a noisy market, how to get your prospects to own your proposal by doing the things we talked about, even if you don't have a full-time chief marketing officer, and how to attract ideal customers without wasting a ton of money on marketing, which is not resonating. And I like the word resonating because it's like magnetic. Is what you're putting out there resonating, connecting with, and drawing in, attracting your customers? So if you're still here, I'm grateful, because now you're at the point where you have a choice to make. You've read all those great books. You've been in this session. Like, you probably say, oh, I know this already. But, what are you doing about it? Have you actually made these changes that you need to make in order to be successful and not waste money on marketing? Are you basically okay to remain where you are? That's the choice you need to make. Or, consider what would doing this do for your business? Doing this, really getting from confusion about your message, your story, your sales presentation, your homepage that you've invested already a lot of money into. Are you okay with it being it as it is? Or do you want to make this better so you can get the business that you deserve? So here's what I have for you. If you're here in this webinar, exciting. In the next 72 hours, I have basically set aside 5 30-minute Zoom calls. I have very limited time with my team and my customers. I also have my baby, Henry, who I love to spend time with, who I'm going to right after this webinar. But I would spend this time with you dialing into your current messaging, your current sales presentation, looking at your homepage, and giving you an assessment and some goals on what you need to do to turn that around, and maybe get a game plan together on how to get that done. There's the link, getsalesenabled.youcanbook.me, or you can snap that QR code and book a session. And after you do that, there'll be a little questionnaire to just fill out so I can do my homework before our meeting. And you will get value from that. But here's the catch. This is not for everyone. This is free. But, for me, please ask you a favor. Like, do not book a call if you are not actually the CEO, or you're not the hands-on investor. You're not interested in investing in time and energy, and perhaps even money, in getting this right, because it will take probably all of those things. And if you're not a CEO that doesn't really care to align team, and a CEO that doesn't really want to make a dent in your market. So those are not my people, as it were. So I want to just play here for a minute, a quick comment here from Jordan.
Where we would have been had we just done it ourselves. Like, everyone on our team, has graphic design experience, has website experience. Like, we could have done something ourselves, but our resources were spread so thin. So that was the first thing, is that I think Pitch Kitchen really leapfrogged us to get us where we needed to be. Now we've got better new logo, better new website.
Yeah, so I'm just going to fast forward a little bit from Jordan. So he's a great guy, by the way. You can certainly connect with him.
What was cool about it is
here's
that,
here's Trisha and Troy, and this is Behavior Science Tech. And I just want to fast forward here to this point. What does Trisha have to say?
Of a look back and where we've come. So I found that to be really rewarding, very, very enjoyable process.
So I mean, it is a process.
Really helped articulate. Not that we did anything wrong with the product, and it's interesting enough that even looking back, it's not like I'm changing the product to do it. It's basically how I'm talking about what this means to you.
So
You
great,
know,
great folks here at Behavioral
Is
Science
that
Techs,
what was
and these guys use this magnetic messaging platform for their business. So there's the link, getSalesEnabled.youcanbook.me if you want to do this. And again, it's for these types of people. So if that's you, please book a call. And so why am I doing this? So let me just peel it back a little bit. So I graduated actually from design school in New York City, the best design school in the world, thinking that really great design was going to change the world. Turns out that design isn't enough. It really takes a great message and a great story arc to change the world, and one that resonates with people. So after school, I think if you look at the work that I've done in sales and building Pitch Kitchen and the work that we've done with our customers, I think it really puts me into a place where there's few people on the planet have these combined skills and talents to deliver this framework in the way that I have. So I'm honored to do this. I'm driven to do this, and I'm grateful to share this with you guys. So there's the link if you want to book a time. If you're still here, I would say as well, do not book a call with me here if you want to save your marketer's relationship. What I mean by that is a lot of marketers feel that once you talk to them and say, can you do this? Can you take this approach? They're like, sure, I can take it. Sure, I can do it. But the reality is, why haven't they do it? Why haven't they done it? They'll say that they can do it, but they haven't done it yet. They didn't do it. They haven't done it because they don't really know how. They don't have the experience. And it's one thing to read the books. It's one thing to know intellectually how to apply this very customer-centric approach to your marketing. It's another thing to actually do it. And the only way I think a marketer can do it is if they actually sold stuff and know what it's like to drive the right conversations in the sales process. It really comes down to conversations, because it's through conversations that you build trust with your customers. In fact, I like to say you don't even need a sales presentation. You don't need one. You don't need a deck to get sales. It's helpful only if the deck you're using helps you have the right conversations. Because why do you need conversations? Because you want to build trust. And that is what business is based on, trust. How do you get to trust on your website? How do you get to trust using your sales deck? How do you get to trust with the story that you're telling? Those are the essential elements of the recipe that you need. So if this was helpful for you guys, let me know in the comments. Let me know. You can certainly reach out to me on LinkedIn. If we're at time here, so we're going to wrap this up in a minute. But if you have any questions, again, I'm using some software here. I can't see where the questions are, sadly, but you can certainly reach out to me after this webinar, and I will get in touch with you. Thank you. This is the way to get in touch. GetSalesEnabled.youcanbook.me, and we can book this time together. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you got some value from this masterclass, and we'll be speaking soon. Godspeed from the metaverse. Now what button do I press to turn this off? Okay, I got it.